Well, it's a great pleasure to welcome Dell Technologies to the 2021 Cloud Conference, and a great pleasure to welcome once again a familiar face. Greg McDonald is the Director of Systems Engineering for South Africa at Dell Technologies. Greg, firstly, how are you doing? And it's really good to see you.
Yeah, it's awesome to see you as well, Aki. Thank you for the lovely introduction, and awesome to be in the call today with you. So what are we going to discuss today, Aki?
Well, listen, I think you and I have actually been going along this journey of digitization since COVID-19 started, and it's been so interesting to see how
Yeah.
organizations have kind of adapted to the changes. And the cloud, I think, has without a doubt been the glue that has kept business continuity together. And when you look at the major global hyperscalers now based in South Africa, tell us about Dell Technologies and how can Dell Technologies help organizations remain flexible by combining a public and private cloud strategy? Because I think that's really the key going forward.
Yeah, very much it is. I 100% agree with you there, Aki. It very much is about the hybrid cloud. And the hybrid cloud is really about making sure we can provide services to our corporate customers as well as our small and medium-sized businesses, even education and across the spectrum on consistency of services. And when I say about consistency of services, it's about how do we help IT organizations get the best of what the public cloud can offer, but potentially help them with the stuff that doesn't necessarily would land in a public cloud or hyperscaler sort of vendor of choice. And when I talk about consistency, I'm thinking about things like servers and storage and network consistency in terms of consistency of infrastructure. Customers are also looking for consistency of operations as well, how they manage old school virtual machines, how they manage next generation workloads like containers and Kubernetes, but how they can also take into account that the edge locations, their core data center locations, and the public or private cloud is actually where data is going to be generated going forward. And those customers that we know can take advantage of data that's generated at the edge and do something with it at the edge are the ones who are best in a position to generate new products, new technologies, and stay ahead of the competition as well. And so when you take this consistency of infrastructure, plus this consistency of operations, and the ability to manage workloads that seamlessly move from the edge into the core, into the public cloud, I think that's at the heart what Dell Technologies cloud vision and messaging is all about for our customers. And it's been like that for the past couple of years. And we've seen some amazing successes into it as well. And coming soon in South Africa is our ability to offer this cloud-like service and offering from a product and technology from us as a vendor in a CapEx model and soon to be delivered in an OpEx model. So we really have full choice for customers in terms of how they want to purchase and pay for the solution over time as well. And when you bring all this together, that really is at the heart of what the Dell Technologies message is all about for our customers here in South Africa.
Well, absolutely. And your customers are certainly reaping the benefits of that strategy. And I think also adding the value and that agility into the organizations. And I guess, VMware Cloud Foundation on Dell EMC VxRail has been fantastic for you guys, offering that level of flexibility and automation for your customers. And this ultimately enables organizations to both simplify, streamline, automate those hybrid cloud operations you were talking about. Talk us through some of those benefits that are offered and who stands to gain the most from this kind of innovation.
Yeah, it's a great question, Aki. I think VxRail is the next generation platform of choice for customers. We're starting to see it here. The adoption level has been out of this world for South African customers, and we have many customers who are running their businesses on the heart of VxRail as a product. And the reason why they've selected VxRail as opposed to other vendor products in this market is for a couple of reasons. One, the integration between VMware software and Dell hardware is next level and industry leading in this particular area. When VMware introduces product technologies, they do it first and foremost on Dell VxRail as their proven technology. And so we have joint engineering efforts between VMware and Dell specifically for next generation software that's coming out of both of our businesses. When you overlay that with automation in terms of lifecycle management, and we take away some of the operational headaches that many customers sort of face, that's the second factor that customers buy into. For me, it's also about having a platform that can deliver old school virtual machines and new school Kubernetes, like what we spoke about in terms of the private public cloud platform as well, because customers need a single platform that can host both solutions. that's completely software defined and built for security and built for next generation workloads. And when you add all those things together, that's the reason why we are winning in the local market and globally with our platform VxRail.
Oh, that's very interesting. I mean, Greg, when you look at Dell Technologies, I mean, you guys have a solution for managing the storage of unstructured data, and that really helps to manage the cost and improve efficiency. We know how those costs can start creeping up if you don't manage that data properly. Talk us about through the PowerScale offering and how this can help to manage multi-cloud environments, improve flexibility, and also accelerate innovation, because it's all very well to do all the stuff in the cloud in the background, but you have to accelerate innovation.
Yeah, I like that last piece of the statement about accelerating innovation, Aki. And if you think about the edge locations, we think about the private cloud data centers and the public cloud data centers, we all know that those organizations that take advantage of where data is generated or being close to where data is generated and turning that data from raw data into insights, into action, are the reasons or ones who are going to be more successful than other organizations who don't use the data to their best ability. And part of that data is what we call unstructured data. This is the stuff that it's not necessarily has a structure to it. It's not defined like a database table, for example. It could be anything. It could be telemetry data coming off cameras or sensors, for example. It could be social media data. It could be weather streaming, for instance, or financial ticker type of data. This concept of unstructured data is where the market is all going. And like I said to you, those customers that take advantage of the data and use it to their advantage are the ones that will potentially be around with us over the next sort of 10 to 20 years worth of business time period. It also means that if we collect the data into pools of system data, we can start to apply machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence to it. And when we start to bring these things together, this is how Dell thinks that customers will use data to their advantage over time. But PowerStore or PowerFlex, should I say, PowerStore, PowerScale, the Power family products that are part of our storage family here are really designed to help you store and manage data just like you do in the public cloud. We're providing that public cloud-like scale into customers' solutions in their own data center. They give you that operational readiness and that ability to serve and look after data like you would in the public cloud, but for locations like edge locations. Think about mines, think about hospitals, think about manufacturing facilities that are not necessarily close to the city CBDs. They don't have operational IT staff there, for example. How do you provide that operational agility into those locations is at the heart of the PowerScale family as well. And then thirdly, it's about running data-intensive workloads in these locations that you can take advantage of artificial intelligence and machine learning. And the advantage for us is there's no outbound traffic costs with the solutions that we see against some of the public cloud offerings as well. And when you bring this integration together, when we bring this insights together, the ability to scale these solutions, we think we've got the secret sauce ironed out quite nicely for our customers here in the South African marketplace and putting them in a position where they can get insights out of their workloads and drive their businesses in the direction that's needed as well.
It's very interesting. I mean, when you talk about managing those multi-cloud environments, I mean, that can be quite complex. You need to access analytics, there's disaster recovery testing, there's development, and all the while you have to keep all of this stuff in the background secure. And security, as we know, has been paramount. Talk us through that multi-cloud data services that are offered by Dell in the context of what I've just suggested.
Yeah, you're spot on there, Aki, and all of those points are ever more relevant in today's post-COVID times. And we talk about customers who work from home, we talk about staff that work from home, we talk about businesses that need to bring their version 2s of their operations, given that we've seen how much of an impact COVID has had on our customers here in South Africa. One of the hearts of the story messages from my side of things is about not locking customers into single vendors and single cloud specific players in the market. We'd like to think of ourselves as offering an agnostic solution that works across these multiple vendors. The last thing we'd like you to do is to be locked into a specific vendor's message or product stack that allows you not to leave if things change or if it becomes cheaper alternative solutions. And so avoiding vendor lock-in is part of that solution as well. It is about offering and reducing the risk associated with cybersecurity incidents, for example, and security in general. And when we talk about enterprise class storage, this is where you can reduce the risks of security incidents and cybersecurity related policies by adopting Dell Technologies product portfolio as well. We also have the ability to deliver cloud-like services as part of the offering through consumption subscription-based models. And I spoke about Project Apex previously. That solution is now ready to go in South Africa. What it means is that we can offer you CapEx type transactions, pay with a purchase order and pay the invoice at the end of the month, for example, or pay per use. Very similar to what we see with the public cloud vendors. We can do it with infrastructure solutions, storage solutions, data protection solutions, or virtualization cloud-like solutions like what we've spoken about in the past as well. And when you connect into this concept of secure, non-lock-in cloud type solutions, we think we've got the secret sauce ironed out very nicely for our customers here in South Africa as well. And it really is at the heart of Dell's multi-cloud data services offering as part of the value proposition that we talk about. Part of it is the ability to make sure that we deal with things like recovering of data, looking after the data. We spoke about data and the use of data in the previous sort of slides. It is at the heart of our customer's journey. And when you overlay the value proposition of what Dell has to offer, together with our data protection, service, storage, networking solutions, and how we're at the forefront of driving the public cloud integration across our edge locations, core locations, and into those public cloud hyperscalers, this is the reason why customers are looking to Dell as the proven and selected partner of choice as we iron out what these platforms need to look like over the next few years. And this is why we think Dell is winning locally and abroad with our product solutions and offerings. Aki.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely interesting. I mean, when you look at it, it's quite complex, and you've got to get little pieces of the cloud business into, from different parts traditionally. And you guys have the ability to offer all of that under one roof, which is quite unique. And I guess that when you look at the acquisition of VMware all those years ago, it's now never been more apt than ever, with what we're going through globally. But Greg, my question to you is, I mean, you and I have had these discussions over the last few months, and it's now turned into years because we're almost approaching 2 years that this pandemic has hit us. The journey to the cloud has been going on long before the pandemic hit us, but we're certainly learning new things about it. In your experience and just dealing with customers since March of 2020, when the pandemic hit us globally, is there anything that stands out that has perhaps surprised you, or you've learned at Dell Technologies, or something that your customers have picked up on that they never knew before? And I guess with this acceleration going forward and everything fast-tracked forward, I guess we are going to learn a lot of new things. But is there anything that stands out that the pandemic has brought to organizations that's really excited you?
I used to think, and I think as much of I think of my own dad. He used to say to me, "You got to be working in an office, and you've got to do your job, and your boss is going to see you, and the clock watcher. You got to be in at 8, and you got to leave at sort of 5." The typical sort of old school approach to sort of how corporates were managing staff. I think has certainly been some of the most refreshing parts of what COVID has brought us in South Africa, because for specific businesses, not all businesses, the use and helping staff work from home and working in locations that suit them with potential time shift changes that work for them as well has been some of the most interesting parts of the conversations we've had with customers, and how customers certainly know that they now have the ability to trust their staff even further to deliver on that work from home product. And in many instances, customers have told us that productivity has improved in specific businesses. Now, I will also add a proviso that not all businesses are in that particular context, for example, but specific professional services type of organizations, think of sort of lawyers or accountants, that kind of professional service type of role that can definitely benefit from a work from home scenario and a time frame that suits them based on managing the home life, managing families that have COVID, for example, has been some of the most interesting parts of the conversation that I've had with customers. Yeah. But for me, it's one thing to deliver the solution, as in, here's your notebook, go home and work from home. It's another thing to potentially deliver the IT services in the background to support those users in the home context. And that, for me, is where customers have struggled a lot with. And they've come to vendors like Dell to say, how can you help not only with the purchase of a notebook for my staff that now needs to work from home, but I now need a security offering attached to it as well. I need a management framework attached to it. I need a support framework that attached to it. And I potentially need additional products and services to help make them more productive, like a second screen or a keyboard or a mouse or a fancy microphone or a camera, for example. And I know you and I were talking about cameras and microphones before the session started, but these are purchases that go into producing and adding on the productivity side of things. And that's been quite an interesting dynamic for South African customers. Lastly, Aki, I think for me, just to get back into the sort of cloud side of things, what I've noticed the most of is the development and modernizations of applications are part of this journey as well. And so if I break that down into those three categories, the work from home scenario and everything that brings about it, the security and protection of data around that, and then the ability to modernize applications, those three things are, for me, at the heart of what I've seen South African customers adopt, and have been some of the most surprising conversations from corporates in the South African marketplace that I've been really impressed by. And I think our adoption is in line and on track with what you'd see in more mature markets like UK, France, and Germany, or the US markets, for example. Yeah. And that, for me, is really been quite a beneficial role that I've had in the Dell organization. And I've been really proud of the conversations that our team have had, but also surprising interest from the customer side of things on those three topics as well, Aki.
Absolutely fascinating insights. Greg McDonald, I really enjoyed chatting to you, Director of Systems Engineering, South Africa, Dell Technologies. Thank you for joining us at the Cloud Conference 2021. On behalf of my broadband, thank you very much for those insights. Great chatting to you.
Thank you, Aki. Really appreciate the time and insights from you as well. Appreciate it. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Greg. Bye-bye.